What's up, everybody? This is your boy Ty Asbury from Off the Top Rope, and we continue Tuesday afternoon, live 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, presented by SixPackCoverage.com. I'm calling this episode an all-around extravaganza because my live guest, wrestler, actress, she does it all, and I'm really interested to hear what she has planned next on her extravagant schedule. Danielle Kamela joins your boy Ty Asbury, episode 2, Off the Top Rope, Full Pack Week. Danielle Kamela, Off the Top Rope, a sizzling afternoon.
Tyrone Asbury. Yo. Yeah. I need y'all to listen to me right now as I take you on this journey. Podcast journey. Only the greats can make it to this level.
What's up, everybody? Live on your, of course, Tuesday afternoon. It's your boy Ty Asbury, a sizzling Tuesday afternoon. And as we always do on the show, you know it's about to go down. And when I said an all-around talented extravaganza, it's because this lady right here, actress, wrestling, Danielle Kamela is in the house. So let's give her afternoon applause because she's on the ropes live this afternoon. Danielle, what's up, girl?
Hey, how are you? I haven't done a podcast interview in a long time, so you should feel a little special because I decided to come on your show, and I'm super excited to chat with you and have some fun today.
Well, like the fact that she hasn't done a podcast in a long time, it makes me, I must be special. I don't know, it's just the shirt or something, but I'm glad you're coming out of, I guess you could say, podcast retirement to be on the ropes, and I really appreciate that because I know you have a busy schedule. And first and foremost, I want to ask you this afternoon, like, how are you doing? Your schedule, I'm sure it's crazy. Let the whole world know what's going on.
Well, I'm doing great. I'm living in Arizona right now, and it's been crazy. I've been trying to just do a ton of different things and fill my time, stay busy. I did recently have my first singles match in about over 2 years, and that was on AEW Dark, which was so fun just to kind of like get my feet wet again. And with wrestling, I'm still kind of trying to get back into it and kind of rebuild my character. And I actually have a show in LA on April 10th, which is an all female show with Knox Pro. It's called Effin Wrestling or Effin Her Story. Effin Warriors. That's what it is. So that's been a lot of fun. And there's been a ton of other stuff going on. So
a ton of other stuff you have going on. We definitely want to talk about it here on this episode of Off the Top Rope this afternoon. Now, the fact that you mentioned AEW, I was going to save it to later, but since you brought it up, I want to bring this graphic up because AEW is the thing going right now, and you had your match in February. Now, I want you to tell the show, everybody watching live right now, what is about AEW that is like, I call it like the boom. People are going there. I know Tony Khan gives people chances. Like, what is it about AEW that's really like sizzling? Because it seems like it's the promotion that gives people chances.
Right. And I definitely saw that being there. It was just a really good, positive environment, and kind of along the lines of what you said of giving people chances. There are so many different talent that they bring into these AEW Dark shows to kind of show what you have and show what you've got and just to get yourself out there. So yeah, I think they really do support just wrestling as a whole. So it was really cool to just be there and kind of get to experience how they do things. And Tony Khan, super nice guy, super friendly, very professional. Like, it was just cool to be in that environment.
Now, so the fact you brought Tony Khan, I went to my first AEW show. It was back in February in Atlantic City, which I'm very familiar with, Atlantic City. So being way up here in upstate New York here, with the show, I was like, I'm going to take my ass down to AC. I've never been to AEW before. And then, I loved it. I had it makes you feel like you're so a part of the show. And Tony Khan, when he comes out, he probably came out 10 times that Wow. He's just like a regular guy. He had sweatpants on, had the headphones. I'm like, he's just like probably like dude walking down the street. He's like, hey, what's up? Like, I'm just like he's just like a regular dude.
Yeah, that's exactly what I thought too. And so it's kind of nice because you can relate to him more as, a talent. Even though he's like everyone's boss and the person, you answer to, he's just more relatable, I guess I could say.
Now, I want to ask you like this question because you're familiar with AEW. People talk about it a lot. So I want to ask a professional, being yourself, that they say, AEW has too much of a fill roster. Do you think that's a bad thing or good thing? Like, I would think it's good because I always say in wrestling, you never know, people get hurt. But how do you feel about that, thinking they have like a too much fill up of a roster?
I mean, I don't agree with that at all because the more talent you can give opportunities or even know that you might have a chance to have an opportunity is better. I think it's better, especially coming from someone who is the talent. And people do get hurt all the time. Storylines have to change. So I don't look at that as a negative. I know some fans do, but I don't see that as a negative at all.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. I mean, you really just put that like hit the nail on the head with that. That you never know when people get hurt and things have to change. So it's always, I guess, in wrestling, next person up, go score a touchdown or something. Cardinals, saying so.
Right, and things are always changing. So you might need someone that you don't like have on your main roster that you can just pull from and make it a little bit easier.
Now, you said as soon as we started the show that you took some time off from wrestling, you get back to the groove of things. Now, was that like a benefit for you because resting your body, like just a mental thing, like taking time off? Like, how did that all come about? Just like where you just like, I need to take some time off and just focus on other things.
Right. Well, after I was released, I just felt like I really did mentally need a break because that's a huge change in your life. I was with this company for 6 years. I had a routine. I had, that was who I was. That was my identity was, Vanessa Born, a WWE superstar. So I kind of just had to figure out like who I was as Danielle Kamela again and get reacquainted with that. And then, yes, I needed a mental break as well. And I needed a physical break. So it kind of was just like the perfect time to just chill, kind of reconnect with other passions that I have and just decide, where I want to go next and what I want to do. And my body has never felt better because I'm not taking like multiple bumps a week, but now it's like ready to go now that it's been rested. And even going back and having that match at AEW, I was just a little bit worried because it had been so long. I was worried how my body was going to feel, but it was fine. I was like shocked. I wasn't like too sore or anything. I was like, okay, I can still do this. I still got it.
Well, on top of that, you came out of podcast retirement to come on the show, so it's like, yeah, I mean, you really going out making like your huge return. So that's an A+ for coming back on the show, which again, much appreciated for coming on the show this afternoon. And like when I guess like for wrestlers, like when you're taking some time off, you get back into it, like it could be a thing where your cardio is off, or I'm sure you keep in shape like nonstop, where it's not really a problem. But I guess that all depends on who the talent is.
Oh, for sure. And the thing is, like, I would try to keep my cardio on point in the gym, by doing like some high interval into like training like that and dynamic type of movements, but it's not the same as being in the ring. So there's being in ring shape and being in shape, two different things. So I was concerned about that. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm going to be blown up. I'm going to be like slow. But it wasn't too bad. But of course, I know you have to be training in the ring constantly to be in the best ring shape. So that's another thing, moving forward with wrestling is making sure I'm getting in the ring, I'm training, working on your craft. I don't ever think it's a good idea to just like chill and then just go have matches without like training at all. So
you brought up a good point. I remember when, of course, I stay in shape, try to, keep in shape. And I took from being in shape to trying to do like full court basketball, with my friend. And I was like, fellas, we gotta change this like half court because it was too much. So when when you're not doing it as consistent like you have been, you brought up a good point. Like you just can't turn off the remote and go jump in the ring. So, but that's really cool that you're still doing what you're doing, and you're making us all of us proud here at the roast. So keep doing what you're doing. Now, have you? There's always like, I guess people find new workouts they use to keep in shape. Like, have you ever come across any new workouts that have maybe helped you in wrestling where you're like, oh man, I'm gonna use this, or that doesn't really happen?
Workouts, or do you mean just like inspiration from certain?
Inspiration, any kind of workout, something that Danielle Kamela, something that really you got from somebody or learned and just never look back.
I guess I could say, so I'm a former gymnast, a former competitive gymnast, and then also a former Phoenix Suns dancer and Arizona Cardinals cheerleader. So every now and then I still try to take a dance class here and there. And I always get inspiration from that because there's little movements that you're like, oh, this could be different and cool. And I can plug it into a move or like a sequence. So definitely from dance classes, which are a workout in itself. So yeah, I would say that. And that's also like inspired me to watch other types of things, like other like swing dancing classes. I've never taken one, but you can still pull stuff from things like that to put into your matches that might be unique and different. So I think that's another thing that's been kind of cool about like being away for a while is I've been able to create a Rolodex of different unique moves that I never have used in the past that I can bring out now. So it'll be more exciting. Yeah.
Now, being away from, taking some time away from the square circle, like, has that also helped you in terms of maybe adding more to, in-ring character or like just maybe like, for example, watching a movie and saying, oh, I may try that, or it's just, nah, not going to do that. Just be me, when I return.
Right. Oh my gosh. It's crazy because I feel like I watch a lot of movies and a lot of film, and I constantly see things that could be cool for my character, or even for other people's characters that I already know and am aware of. So the thing is, like my character in WWE, Vanessa Bourne, she was like artistic. She was kind of, a dominatrix, this powerful, like feminine character. So for me, like, I feel like the fans connected with that. And that's what they know of, from my past career. So I want to be able to take elements that I think the fans enjoyed and bring it into whatever package I present next. Because obviously Vanessa Bourne is dead. I can't take the Vanessa Bourne name. So I still have to, create something that has her, but is also evolved. So yeah, I definitely pulled tons of ideas from all sorts of movies and just other people I meet, maybe you meet someone who's like mean or, and my character's the villain and I'm like, oh, that was really like fucked up. That was really like messed up. So I pull stuff from like them even and can put it into my character. So
can you give us all some insight? Have you crossed the movie lately? Could have been last week, 2-3 weeks ago, where you say you may try that. Can you give us a sneak peek, or is that kind of like keep it on the DL and just wait?
Of my character work?
Yeah.
I have like a bunch of ideas that I'm actually launching my own content-based website. Nice. And that'll kind of be the package, partially the package I will be presenting with my character. So you'll have to stay tuned for that, but it will be by the end of this month. So
I really think, and this is just how I feel now, we all know how WWE releasing people, fine. That's the way you handle your business. That's on you. But I do feel that I see that you're doing great. I mean, you got like the glycerin and the eye and ready to go back, kick ass in the ring. I do think with that happening, I really think it was all for the right reason. I think God makes things happen for a reason. That's why I think it happened. And it seems like you had that great mentality of it is what it is. And you're not looking back.
Right. And the thing is, you can't. It's like there's nothing I can change at this point. So, I mean, for anyone that goes through any kind of like change or disappointment, the longer you stay disappointed and sad, the further it puts you back. So the sooner you can look forward the better and the happier you'll be. And, you know, I think in a few years, looking back, I'll be like, okay, yeah, it did all happen and unfold the way it's supposed to be. And so, yeah, I mean, I'm excited. I have to be positive and focused on the future for sure.
Well, and that's why I call you all around talent, because I mean, you got so much. I mean, like I said, actors, done some acting work, wrestling. Like the sky is like high for you, so that's why I can tell, like in your eye, that I know I got to do, and you keep on moving, doing what you're doing. It seems like to me, I really want to ask you. It seems like to me that in terms of character development or them saying, "Hey, just go try it." It seems like, and I'm not sure if WWE, as far as character development, it's just like kind of like going around like a little bit of a wave with that, where AEW, Tony Khan's like, they say, "Hey, let's go try it." I mean, that's what seems like to me.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I know when I first started in the WWE, they did kind of let us try a bunch of things, but it's interesting to see the way things have changed from when I started to now, because when I had started with NXT, like I did have a match with the character I wanted to present, and I guess it was a little too risque at the time. And so we actually had to retape that whole match because it was a little too much. So, but now I feel like that's the type of, content they're putting out there. So it's interesting to see that, like, oh man, like if only that would have been now, like it would have fit, it would have done well. But yeah, I do agree. I think with AEW, people have a little bit more control with their creativity, but who knows? I haven't been like deep into that system, so I'm not sure.
Well, like because you did the match. I looked at my handy dandy notes. It was in February, so when I saw that, I was like, yeah, that's not too long ago. So like, it's great for you that you did the dark match, and like the fact that you're coming back to wrestling after taking some time off. And speaking of which, coming back to wrestling, I know Arizona's huge. I don't know how huge it is on this particular thing, but how big is the Arizona wrestling scene, like, and like the fans, like, because we all know different territories are different, but to everybody watching the show, if you could tell everybody watching the show today how the whole Arizona wrestling scene is.
Right. I know we do have a lot of diehard wrestling fans here, and a few of them I've met just being out and about. And there is a wrestling school here. I wish I like knew the name so I could plug it, but I've trained at that school a little bit. So there is, like, when I first started, it's called AZ Pro Wrestling Training, but so I've gone to their school a couple of times and it's great. But when I was first starting, there was no wrestling schools here. So I think wrestling at least is like, growing, and people are able to train here, which is awesome. I think it's sometimes hard for people to get into wrestling if there's no wrestling school closer to them or close to them. And I've heard a lot of people say, like, well, if you're really serious about it, you got to move and you got to go find a school. But that's tough for people, especially if you're not making enough money, you have to leave your job. So to be able to have a school here that can train, Arizona locals is amazing.
I would think that with, like, when it comes to wrestling, like you said, it's hard to juggle things, job, training. I admire what you guys do, because I mean, sometimes you have a job and then wrestling and then other stuff going on. Like, how hard is it? And that's why I admire you guys like so much for doing that. Like, it probably could be a point where you'll like me pulling your hair out. How do you do it?
For sure. And like, I think with my situation, I was in the right time at the right place because I happened to kind of fall into a tryout. So I kind of got lucky, but I see a lot of other people, and their journey is just so much more admirable and like just a lot harder. Even when I was training in LA at Knox Pro, the school was so far from where a bunch of people lived, and they would work during the day. They would carpool. They would do anything they could to make it to training because they had that passion. And so I looked to talent like that, and I'm like, damn, like, I respect you because you're doing anything you can to get to training when you have all these other commitments. You have families, you have jobs, you have to pay your bills. and you're still paying to come train at school. So for me, I feel like, yes, it was a tough journey. I feel like everything I've gone through in my entire life led me to wrestling. But also I look at these other people who have such a passion for it, where they're struggling, but they still get there, they still make it, and they're pursuing the dream. So
Now, one thing you better be pursuing is watching this, of course, full packed episode of Off the Top Rope, because my live guest, the beautiful Danielle Kamela, is in the house today. So if you want to comment, ask her a question about who's going to be beating up next, acting, whatever, she does it all. So definitely hit her up, with a comment, and I'll be glad to share it on the broadcast here on Off the Top Rope. Now, you, of course, talked about the grind in wrestling and everything. Now, of course, we all know you've done some acting work and everything. Now, when it comes to acting, if you had to take what's the most difficult thing about acting and like put that aside with wrestling, what's the most difficult thing about acting? Because you got to drive to auditions. It's kind of like the same thing with wrestling.
Right. And acting is the same. You have to be constantly working on your craft. So you have to be in class. And I even start to notice with auditions and bookings, if I'm not in class and I'm not working, on my craft, I might not book as many jobs as I usually would. And I guess like with acting, it's kind of hard because there's more line work. I know, of course, with wrestling, you're cutting promos and things like that, but just learning to authentically react to someone, but also having these lines in your head, I guess was the most challenging thing for me in acting. But I was kind of able to break through that with being in class. But you're right. Acting is a whole nother grind in itself. And when I was living in LA, I was going on auditions weekly, multiple auditions, and, I might only book like one a month. But that's the industry there. It's very competitive. But at the same time, if you book one good gig a month, then you get a nice check and you're okay. So
Get the dollar bills, get that nice check. And you said you're very familiar with the LA area. And I don't know how close you were to it, but when I was in LA and I saw the Hollywood sign, I was like a big kid in a candy store. I was, oh shit, look, I was looking at the Hollywood sign. When you were out there, how often did you look at it, or you wasn't around it, and as far as like where you were located?
No, well, I lived in Culver City, but I would see it all the time because I'm driving around for auditions. I was driving to wrestling training, so I would see it all the time. And yeah, I feel like it's definitely motivating when you're there. Because when I was there, I didn't really have any friends. I didn't know anyone. I ended up meeting friends at my wrestling school, but we all lived so far away from each other. So LA was really kind of like a life-changing experience for me because it's where I learned how to just be independent and, be able to do things by myself. And I actually hated it the whole time I was there. I didn't like LA at all. I didn't like the traffic. I didn't like how long it took to go get groceries. The cost of things was insane. But after living there for a year, I was like, okay, I can do this. And then I ended up moving to Orlando for NXT. So
I do remember the one thing that jumped out of my mind about LA is the usual city. It's only like 2-3 lanes. I get to LA, it was like 6 lanes and people were coming from the left and right. I'm like, man, what the hell? How do people do this? So it was, I don't get scared driving, but that was the time I was scared. So
oh my gosh, I would get lost all the time. Like directions are not my thing whatsoever. So being new to a huge city, it was a disaster.
Now I'm gonna read something to you, see if you're very familiar with it. Okay. And you did, of course, 2017 was a movie called Kingdom of Gladiators.
Oh, yeah.
Of course, the tournament. Now, is there any chance will there ever be a sequel?
I'm not sure. There could be. It wouldn't surprise me, but that movie, that was such a fun experience because we did it like with our wrestling school and we built so many of the props and a lot of the set and put hours and hours of work into it. So to kind of do all of those things was really fun and a learning experience. And after we were done with it, we were like, man, we're so proud of ourselves because a lot of work. So yeah, that was fun. And then I actually have another movie that I'm filming pretty soon here that's coming up. So
There you go. There
yeah.
you go. Well, that definitely when when the show closes, I definitely want to ask you about that. Let everybody know, including me, about your acting upcoming projects because, and again, like that's really cool. I mean, it's like I always say, you got like a buffet to choose from. You got wrestling, acting, like you starting your website. So, girl, the sky's the limit for you. So, like, and I would think that does it ever like kind of pinch you here and there where you're like, man, like I'm so blessed because like I got all these things that I'm into. That must probably is really a cool feeling.
Oh my gosh, it's so cool, and I think to be able to diversify yourself is something that's super important, because outside of like acting and wrestling and hosting and things like that, I've been able to get into like other fields too. Like I've been doing a lot of content. I've been learning about sports betting, and I've been doing a lot of sports betting. And then I've been learning and growing in Web3 and like crypto and NFTs. So there's just so much out there. And I feel like for anyone, just to be able to learn about different things, it really kind of opens your mind and allows you to kind of create your own opportunities that you might not ever have unless you're putting yourselves in these different places and learning about these different things. So, yeah, I'm definitely like, I am so blessed. But at the same time, you have to go out there and learn yourself. You just can't wait for these like things to come to you, if that makes sense.
Exactly. It's like I think it's called, and I mean, you can even say it if I'm wrong. Everybody watching the show, it's called a retreat. I think it's a retreat when you go away and learn about yourself. It seems like you did a Danielle retreat. You just went away, stayed at home, and like so, you got the sparkle in your eyes. So you did a Danielle retreat, and it seems like that really helped you a lot.
That's so true. I didn't even think about it that way because I've always thought about like, oh yeah, I want to go like disappear in the jungle for a few months, like reconnect with myself. But I guess like by kind of just coming to Arizona and, just taking some time was kind of the same thing.
Well, yeah, because I've seen people do retreats where somebody's dressed like they're just dressed nothing but a pillowcase and like, yeah, I was sitting in a fire, just sitting there. I'm like, the hell is that? Like, so like, I wouldn't call that retreat. I would do, but you did the safe way, just chilling at home and just getting some sun. So
For sure.
now I want to pull up a clip, and when I saw this match, I was thinking you got the best versus the best learning from the other best. So I'm sure this match definitely rings a bell. You and the great Santana Garrett, and
Yeah.
I really enjoyed this match. And I want to ask you, how was like working with her because she's another great, just like yourself. You ladies tore it up.
Oh yeah. I love Santana. I love working with her. I learned so much from her because she's been around for so long. She's very versatile. She can really do it all. So, um wrestling with her, training with her, and even becoming friends with her. She's so nice. She's so sweet. I can only say good things about Santana. And even during our time where we were, supposed to be called up together and we were, supposed to be in a trio, Santana, Chelsea, and I was super stoked because yeah, she's awesome. Like I only have good things to say about her. So
That would have been a badass group if that would have came about, and I would have got a T-shirt if y'all had a T-shirt. So, but again, like we talked about this whole show, you're just moving on and just never look back. And I've learned that with life too. You can't dwell. I think life's too short. You can't dwell on the past, and I've always had a big problem with that. And I've learned now, life's not guaranteed tomorrow. Just keep moving forward. So
yeah, it's interesting that you say that because that has been like a huge problem for me in the past too. Is I dwell on so many things like, oh, how could I have changed this? How could I have changed that? Or even if you like make a mistake in life, I would just beat myself up like for so long. And it's like if I could add all that time up where I was either beating myself up or looking back, I've wasted so much time doing that. So it's like at this point in my life, I can't afford to do that anymore,
yeah, absolutely. And of course, as we move forward with 2022, I'm sure you got a whole bunch of them coming up. So this clip, I'm gonna ask you, of course, as far as like you have like two biggest accomplishments that you want to accomplish moving forward, what would they be?
Wait, two accomplishments I'm looking forward to accomplishing?
Yeah.
Ooh, that is a great question. Um, I guess I would say, well, with this year, my goal is to have my best year within my acting career. Actually, I'm going to give you three.
Give me three.
Okay, my best year with my acting career. And then I want to relaunch my character and get right back into the wrestling scene. And then also I want to make an impact in Web3 because that's something I've been diving into. So those are my three goals.
Now, as we move forward, you got like a lot of new things, acting, wrestling. If you could find, if you already haven't found it yet, or you did, you just let us know. What's one thing that, because I love it, if it's music or whatever, what's one like a mind blowing thing that can help you just ease the mind, whether it's music, reading a book? What's one thing that you like to do in terms of just, just have that mind just like water, just flowing down, just relaxing?
Before a match, or you mean just in everyday life?
Just in general.
Well, I have a bunch of things I like to do. Like meditating is one of the main things that makes a huge difference in my life. And if I don't do it, I can tell like right away. So meditation and breathing in the morning is something that kind of just gets me right for the day. And then I love music. It doesn't even have to be like calm music. I mean, I do love like classical music and things like that, but sometimes just your favorite song can kind of just get you in a good mood and can calm you down, even if your head's going all crazy. So yeah, I definitely agree. Music is one of those things. And then breathing and meditation for me.
If you have, I like to do it. People think I'm nuts. Is there one song that you had that you could probably put on repeat before a match or getting ready for acting that pumps you up so much? Because I'm a music repeater. I have the music just playing on what's it called? Shuffle. Not shuffle, just like it keeps on going. So
yeah, I know what you mean. Gosh, I have so many, but I do have one song that I like consider my theme song, and that's She's a Bad Mama Jamma.
Oh yeah, that's the jam right there. Oh yeah, like
like yes, like you have a theme song for your life. So like when I'm walking around, like that's like the song I like think of, and that just like gets me in a good mood.
That's just the way to be. And music brings that positivity, as well. So I mean, we don't want to be hearing any horror songs or nothing like that. We gotta throw it out the door. But yeah, I see what you mean. And by you bring up Bad Mama Jamma, that's making me feel good on the show. So you bring a lot to the ropes today. So definitely well appreciated for doing that. I may have to listen to it before when the show's over. So yes. Now, Danielle, this is the part of the show where I've stumped guests with this. I got to do it to you too. So I got to pump the graphic because we got to go.
Damn, Ty. That's good.
So this part of the show, I got to ask you a question, and you got to do some probably, maybe not. It depends on who the guest is, but it's a really like deep thinking question. You ready to hear the question?
Sure. Hit me with it.
Okay. Being familiar with the Arizona Cardinals, if you had to book a wrestling show at their stadium, which is huge, and you're in the main event, who are you wrestling in the main event? What type of match would it be? And since we're talking about acting, what celebrity would be the special referee?
Ooh, that is amazing. Okay, how could this stump anyone? You just have to give an answer. I was like ready for some hard trivia question or something. Oh gosh. I think if I were to have a match with one person, it would have to be Bianca Belair because she's my closest friend in WWE. And I think we've only had like one match together and it was at just a random house show. But it would definitely be Bianca. And it would have to be a hair versus hair match because, she's got the braid. I got the curls.
Oh, man.
And then celebrity referee. I kind of want it to be someone that's totally random and out there that everyone would be like, why?
Actually, no, it's funny who I thought. I mean, I think it'd be funny because you two are bigger than him. It'd be funny if like you and Bianca Belair, it was like Kevin Hart. Y'all just kept throwing him out in the ring because he's sassing you guys. He's throwing him out in the ring or something. So, but
yeah, actually that's a good idea. But I also think he might try to, overshadow, like overpower us with his personality, and we can't be having that. He would just try to take too much of the shine. So, oof, I don't know. That's a good one. This part of the match might stump me on who the celebrity ref. You're gonna get me somewhere. So many options.
There's so many actors. I mean, because like you said, it has to be somebody that's not going to draw away from you guys, because it'd be about you and Bianca. So yeah, I don't know. I stumped myself because there's so many freaking people out there.
I guess if I were just to pick like the best actress out there and my favorite, why not just have Meryl Streep? That would be random, but she's the GOAT. So I might be starstruck.
Yeah, I definitely I will put that up there. But you and her, hair versus hair, you got the long braid against the curls.
Yeah,
I'll be like, oh man, somebody's lose their hair. So that's where the drama would come in, because even though I wouldn't want to see it happen to either one of you ladies, I still got to see it. That makes sense. I got to see it, but I don't.
Yeah, and I just like got a haircut, so my curls are so short, and I cried because they're so short. So if this were to go down in a match and I'd have to lose my hair, I'd probably cry for a month straight.
I think that's the match where I don't know if Danielle Kamela does it, but if you want to keep the curls, you may have to have somebody run down the ring, throw some brass and nuts. You may have to cheat.
I would have to think of anything and everything, because that's what I would do to keep the curls.
That like I said, that segment, I kind of did stump you, but like I said, that's a segment that I'm glad you enjoyed it. And as we of course wrap up this awesome episode of Off the Top Rope, I want to know what's up with you next. I mean, you got a website, wrestling, acting, girl. Let us all know what's up next, because you got it going on.
Yes. So the next wrestling show I'm going to be at is Effin' Warriors in LA. And that's an all-female show. So that's April 10th. And then I do have a movie coming up. The shoot date isn't like officially announced, so I don't know when it'll end up coming out, but that's happening. And then what else? Oh, launching my own content website, which I will announce. I mean, I announced it here, I suppose, but I'll announce it on social as well. And then if you follow me on my Instagram or even on Twitter, I do a lot of sports betting stuff, so that's always fun. And then also I do a lot of collecting with NFTs. And if you've never learned about NFTs or don't know about Web3, you should follow me for that too. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. I think that's it for right now. Yeah.
Well, I was going to say, like, I mean, I know Arizona Cardinals. I'll say if you're going to bet, you should bet on the 49ers, but you'll probably say, Ty, get out of here with that, because I'm not all about the Niners. So, because that's a division teams right there. So
it is. And actually, I went to a lot of games this season, and every single game I went to, the Cardinals lost, and one of them was a Niners game. So that sucks.
So I'm sorry. I had to do it.
It's funny. Well, one of my other trainers actually is a huge Niners fan too. His name is Reno, and we always have beef when it comes to our teams playing. So
this episode of Off the Top Rope, I mean, we got, talk about acting, football, and Danielle came out of her podcast retirement to come back on the show, and she dropped the hint on her movie on the show. So this episode has been, like I said, definitely full pack. Danielle, thank you very much for coming on the show. Everybody watching live, Danielle Kamela, wrestling sensation, acting sensation, her website. She's got a whole platform of everything that she will accomplish in 2022. Danielle, it's been an honor.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. It's been fun.
And most importantly, last I got to ask you, from 1 to 10, would you ever come back on Off the Top Rope again?
Oh, 10 out of 10, of course.
10 out of 10. Danielle, as always, God bless. Stay safe. Keep doing what you're doing. We're all proud of you here on the ropes, and you're always welcome back on the show.
Thank you.
This is your boy, Ty Asbury. Have a wonderful, wonderful Tuesday. As I always say, love yourself. God bless you. We out of here. Peace.